Hello, hello, hello. Svava Brooks here. If you're watching the replay, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for checking it out. If you're here live, please say hello. Please introduce yourself. Let me know you're here. Let us know where you're from so we can welcome you. My name is Svava Brooks. I'm an abuse survivor coach, and I have written a couple books, workbooks, to help adult survivors of trauma release and rediscover the truth about themselves, that there is nothing wrong with us, nothing wrong with us, right? Some of our wires just got twisted up and we took on some stories and some beliefs about ourselves that, when we were powerless, we didn't know better or didn't have the support that we needed to correct those stories. But now that we're here as adults, we can do that. We can, right? Slowly but surely. Hey, hey, Sue. Good to see you again, right? But we can take a look at some of these stories that we told ourselves to heal, to survive, and change them. And with them, kind of uproot some of the deep-seated negative beliefs that we've taken on. For some of us, they've become our identities. It's who we think we are, and it's who we think we are in the world. Yes, it can get very, very confusing and all mixed and messed up, but one layer at a time, one tool at a time, one day at a time, week at a time, month at a time, we can sort it all out. We can sort it out, put it all on the table, and then kind of take a little step back up here and take a look and see how all those puzzle pieces come, are supposed to go together. And then we can line them back up, come back into our truth, knowing who we are, knowing what we are, and how we're here to serve. So how are we doing today, friends? How are you doing, Sue? Thank you so much. Yes. I had to jump on and do a quick video. I did a little Facebook Live on my page yesterday, celebrating having been with my hubby married 25 years. It's been 27 years all told, like from the time we met, dated, got engaged, and 3 babies later, we're still together. So how did we celebrate our big day yesterday? We met up and walked to the food carts down the street. Yes. Teaching vulnerability and love. Exactly. And that's, if there's anything I've learned about this journey to the heart, my friend, which was one of those turning points and challenging points in my marriage. It's like, well, either I'm going to figure this out or we're not going to make it. But I knew, don't ask me how or why, but I knew at some point I am here to learn about love. And I knew that it wasn't about what my husband was doing. It was about, because of course, back then he couldn't do anything right. Poor guy. It was about how I was resisting and rejecting and keeping the love out. So that's why my first book, Journey to the Heart, it was really about learning how to love and accept myself and all my parts. So, Sue, it's been a full day, but you're doing okay. Good. Glad to hear it. Hey, Wanda. Hey, friend. Love those purple hearts. I was showing my kids my new fancy bracelet. Should be wearing it here with you guys. But every time I see all those little things from our retreat, it just makes me so happy. And Sue and I were talking about it earlier today. So all good. But it feels like summer just has arrived in Portland. It's like in the 80s today, and I'm literally like melting. I walked went for a walk with my daughter since she lives close by with her new baby dog. Not a baby dog, but is new to her. Yes. So I try to go for a walk with her and her new dog. And it was just so burning hot today. So, but I was telling my husband, we're not complaining. We're not complaining because it was raining and clouding for so long. So Norman loved my hippie bracelet. You're educating him on the heart thing. That's right, Wanda. Thank your daughter for making us all look so cool and hip with our bracelets. Loved it. Loved it. So, all right, today, my friends, are we ready? Today is a good day. It's a good page, right? So, right, so many of us, she's got mad skills, that's right. So many of us for so long feel like there's something wrong with us. I don't know if it was just me. It's wet there. Oh, I hope the sun comes out soon. Just talked to my friend in Iceland. It's nice and sunny there, and maybe has been for a few days. Maybe that will head your way soon. So yes, for a long time before and even after I started some of my healing journey, I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Because, right, nobody was talking about trauma. No one was talking about healing after trauma. No one was talking about, what to expect really. And no one, not many people were putting together the pieces that what was actually happening in my body was feeding my mind, right? Was feeding my mind, because in my body I had carried, right, chronic tension. What our body does, okay, we're gonna review a little TRE and the tension cycle. What happens when we're unsafe, right? We protect ourselves. Your body contracts, right? We don't have any control over it. It was all about being mentally ill, something wrong. I hear you, Sue, right? So when our body contracts, right? And because, something's happening and you're scared, something traumatic happened. But for a normal body, what's supposed to happen, and this is the difference between hard and soft trauma that we talk about here. Hard traumas are the things that, we see, like natural disasters or accidents, or we break a leg, right? The soft traumas are what many of us have. Child abuse, neglect, physical, emotional abuse, right? I hear you, Rob, right? You ignore, he says, I ignored those feelings or thought everyone was like that. Well, good for you, because I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me. There was something wrong with me. Everybody else seemed to have figured it out, right? So what I'm saying, when we have that, exactly, it was normal. It was definitely normal. But when we don't get the love and support, right, to help our bodies come out of this protective state, chronic tension in our core, often in our psoas, in our hips. No wonder many of us have, trouble with our stomachs, and have a lot of tummy aches growing up, right? And since we didn't help our body, or weren't supported in helping our bodies relax, to come back into, down-regulated state where we're back to social engagement. We feel safe, calm. We've lowered our, our heart rate. We're breathing more deeply. We're grounded and connected. We feel safe in the world, right? I'm rolling my eyes, right? Never went to bed feeling safe in my house. So that was not normal, right? Or that tension was normal. So yeah, so we end up living with it. but your body is wise. Rob says, imagine the conversation though. You know when you feel like everyone can see your thoughts, yes, and your friends are nodding with a weird look. Yes, exactly. And that's it, right? We are paranoid too, or at least I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, I'm like, what if they figure out, but they're looking at me, they can see there's something wrong with me, right? So it makes us even hide even more, feel even worse. So again, what is feeding this information that there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong, is actually your biology, your nervous system, your body is sending messages to the brain. Hello, there's something that we need your attention, right? There's chronic tension being held in here, and as a result of it, your nervous system is being pumped full of stress hormones non-stop. And so many of us live in that toxic hormone soup for a long time. And so that becomes our hypervigilant state of being. If you knew what I was really like. Exactly, Sue. Exactly. So again, your mind, the meaning-making machine that your mind is just interpreting the signals that are coming from your body to the mind. There's something wrong. And so with that, your mind is coming up with, oh, it's because, right? And usually it gives us that long list of negative things. It was your fault. You are bad. You never should have done that, right? You're not good enough. Well, you're being abused because of X, Y, or Z, right? So all those stories that the mind comes up with because there's something wrong inside. And then that inner struggle, we also end up projecting outside, right? So that inner, just like you're describing, Rob, if there's something wrong with me in here, people must see it. Exactly. That weird look from my friend should have been a clue that everyone else didn't have this toxic stress or trauma overload. I hear you. I totally get it, Rob. Totally get it, my friend. So what we are then learning as part of, right, healing and to recognize, and now as we are talking a lot about, mindfulness and talking about paying attention to our thoughts and, noticing our beliefs, where do these beliefs even come from, right? A lot of that comes from, right, that mess that we created because of the past. And so now I know it feels like a lot of work sometimes, is to respond to when we start to feel crappy or we recognize those toxic thoughts. Okay, what's happening inside my body now that I'm an adult, grounded presence in this moment right here? And I'm not saying this is easy in the beginning, right? We have to do this very slowly, right? In the beginning, because when we've been here for so long and we're asking our body to change and to trust and to be different and relax, your body's going, no way, not going there, no matter what you say, right? And that's why we have to go very, very slow, right? Just almost like a baby step, one, like putting your little toe in the water and then we come back, and then we put 2 toes in the water and then we come back, right? We have to recognize that because of this holding, it's too much to ask the body to expect the body to fully relax and embrace, to be open and loving and carefree. It's just not going to happen that way, right? But how we can help our bodies is to explore those different tools to slowly help the body release any tension, any stress. Because what happens inside of us, right, is that we are both navigating changing the story, changing the thoughts, changing the beliefs, while also releasing that tension from the body. So I know many of you have tried TRE with me, either one-on-one here on camera, or we tried it at the retreat. And I'd be happy to talk a little bit about some of your experiences there. But it's important to recognize that, and this was my favorite part about TRE. It spoke so much to my body, but I understand I had done a lot of some of the other work. I was very comfortable with feeling my feelings, right? I was good at communicating and verbalizing what was happening, to me. Was I still nervous about letting go of control? Yes. Was my body still nervous about letting go of control? Yes, right? I wanted to understand. Thank you, Rob. First one-on-one with, yes, was emotional, but releasing. And again, I brought my little chart here to show you, but let me just finish here. What I'm saying is that what I have found with people that I'm working with in groups and privately is that often when we release the tension from the body, the need to process it, the need to talk about it, the need to have our feelings sometimes goes away, right? So it's interesting to see that sometimes the body is the driver for, we keep processing, talking, and feeling things, but we could sometimes even bypass that if we found a way to safely just release tension. And that's where I talk a lot about self-care, because self-care is the path of starting to become more aware of your body, starting to become, more aware of what is it that you need, when you're out there walking, right? Or am I hungry? Am I thirsty? What makes me happy? What brings me joy? Some of those self-care things that I know I'm a broken record pushing you guys to do, but for some of us, that's the first step before we are like, okay, I'm going to learn about this TRE process and just lay down and let my body start to tremor. It won't, because it's going to feel too scary. So making sure that you are in charge, right? That you feel grounded and present. And that goes for any of the healing modalities that we're talking about, like tapping, TRE, or, Reiki, or any healing work. It's better to do when we are in a relatively calm state. Because if we are already activated, right, you're the part of your nervous system that responds to tension and trauma, that's going to get activated even further. So most people, like if you guys remembered at the retreat, we started with the grounding. We started, I took a good long while just standing on our feet, right? Just stretching our ankles, moving back and forth, because I really wanted to make sure you guys were coming into your bodies nice and quietly, feeling present in the room before we actually moved on to the next exercise. So keep that in mind. It's better to not, like on the scale from 1 to 10, it's not recommended that we go do TRE when we're already like on an emotional upheaval scale of like 8 or 9, right? It's better, you can be in a 2 or a 3, and you're still recognizing that doing any of these tension release processes help you to stay in that range. But anything that brings you really high up, again, that may be just, even re-traumatizing in a way. So, and I know it could be hard to navigate in the beginning, but you can. Let's say here, Rob says, you recommended a quiet walk afterwards, and I still remember that stroll as the most mindful hour of my life. I can still recall the smells and the sounds that I encountered. Beautiful. Awesome. Wanda says, I must really work on my body and emotional image. I hear you. Sue says, yes, I guess I had done a fair bit of emotional work before I tried TRE. Yep. Rob says, I was anxious at 4 or 5 level before, but that you soothed that before the TRE. Good, good. And that's why people that come and want to do TRE with me, I don't just jump into the TRE, right? For some people, it takes a few sessions of us working together, body to body, heart to heart, where they recognize that their bodies are safe before we actually start to work, go deeper with the body. And the truth is, you won't tremor. If you don't feel safe, you won't tremor. The same thing with your tears. If you don't, it's like your body won't release unless, you let it. And that's where, you are ultimately in control. And that's a good thing. But part of learning or using TRE is that you are relaxing and releasing a little bit of the control, so you trust your body to do what it already knows what to do. So definitely not. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Well, I don't want anybody to get traumatized while trying some of these healing modalities. So it's very, very important to go very, very slow, very, very slow. And just, I'm going to hold this up. We talked about this at the retreat, right? Is that this comes from the Resilience Toolkit workbook from Lumos Transforms, giving credit where credit is due, right? What we're talking about is that, nervous system activation, right? Our nervous system gets activated, fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. Most of us, many of us end up living up here, right? And part of coming back down, relaxing, learning to relax in our bodies, we have to come back down on the other side. And that also means in this state here, the fight or flight is also where our emotions live, right? So here we are socially engaged. A little bit of stress in our life is good sometimes, like, get your butt out the door, show up on time, finish that project, whatever, right? But we should always come back down into rest and digest. But if we are constantly up here, fight, flight, or freeze, that's where it wears your nervous system out. And in the long run, like I just posted an article about the ACE study. You guys saw that most people are feeling the impact of childhood trauma into their 50s. And that's it. It's like we can cope with toxic stress. Many of us do as children and young adults. Our bodies are brilliant of shutting down and disconnecting. But what happens as we age is that your body can no longer hang on to this. It's toxic and it makes us physically sick. So many of our, the inflammation in our body, it's just your body is worn out, and it's literally being worn out from the inside, the inner stress, not so much about what's happening outside anymore, but the negative beliefs, right? Those chronic hateful thoughts, the self-harming thoughts that we have is literally wearing us out. So that's why it's important that we learn and find our way, find your way, right? If there's any other way that you find suits you, it doesn't have to be TRE or tapping or Reiki or EMDR or whatever, but find some meaningful way for you to start to become more aware of how you hold stress in your body. And, even just doing breath work is helpful. Just start to slowly take deeper and deeper breaths. So anyways, I get very excited about talking about the body. I think it really helps us to understand there's nothing wrong with you, right? And for a long time, you've been feeling there was something wrong with you. It's just a signal from your body that your body needs your help to let go of something so it can relax. So, and I'm not saying that talk therapy or feeling your feelings or all that isn't helpful, right? But we need a little bit of all things. We need a little bit of all those things because we are multidimensional beings and we need to heal all the aspects. So anyway, so what I put up here today was, taking down the filter of how we are seeing and feeling about ourselves and recognizing how can we actively be releasing trapped trauma from our body. So let me see. I asked the question, what is your favorite way to release trapped tension from your body? And if you've been thinking about adding another tension release practice to your self-care, which one would it be? Tapping, TRE, mindfulness? Exactly, right, Wanda? It's so important, right? And that's the thing. We can't change it unless we become aware of it. So now, as you are talking about things, you're recognizing how your body is responding to what you're saying. And then we can help our body, right? When we get that tension in the shoulder that drives up our neck, right? When we feel this, it's like, wow, I was just talking about something that happened 20 years ago. And my body is responding right now as if it's happening now. How can I help my body recognize that I'm right here, right now? I can look around, and that's where a little bit of mindfulness and finding a trauma-informed therapist helps. Exactly, Rob. Exactly. Not all therapists recognize, that connection or can help you by saying, I'm noticing, or are you noticing what's going on with you as you are sharing this? And so, and again, for us, when we are at home, right away from the therapist, is that we can start to do these things for ourselves. And that's, again, where we are intentional and mindful about our day. We are mindful about our self-care because we know our past. We know, our ACE score. We know the toxic stress we've lived with and the impact that we are still living with, and the attention and the care that our body, that could support our body now, that you deserve gentle, loving, kind self-care. And the more we tend to our bodies, of course, Rob, when we, tend to our bodies, we are becoming aware of it. We are then giving ourselves the validation, the acknowledgement that we've been longing for a long time. And then as we become more aware, we can give ourselves a little more and then a little more. And then we catch ourselves. I can't believe I am being so hard on myself. This is not helpful at all. I wonder where this came from. Right? And if we can feel the tension come up as we start talking about an issue or talking about an aspect, then we can dig a little deeper. It's like, wow, this is really a hard one for me to let go of. Like, it's like ingrained in my body that this is not who I am, or I'm living out of this thinking this is real, like this is who I am. I became a little more loving to my body when I found out it did what it was designed to do, and I wasn't bad because it did. Exactly. Right, Wanda? It's like if we just took our head off and just saw how the body responds to what's happening, it's nothing personal, right? It's nothing personal. Your body is always seeking optimal health. It knows how to survive. There's so many moving systems going on that are communicating inside. But how we get into trouble is that this head thinks it has to make up a story about everything that's going on. And if we aren't aware of the stories, we've adopted stories that we saw around us growing up, and the things that we were told, or what was said to us, or what we saw other people tell each other. This body, we have mirror neurons. We can't help but just mirror what we see out there. Thank you, Rob. He says, your style of cycling back around and repetition suits my learning style perfectly. I need to be reminded a lot about it. You are so welcome, Rob. You are not alone, my friend. We all do, exactly. Because trauma also impacts what we hear. When you are protected and tight and just surviving, we don't hear. We don't hear everything. And so you hear things differently. The more you open up, the more you expand, the more you are present. It's like, wait a minute, I've heard that, but I haven't heard that. So good on you for recognizing it and accepting that and being okay with it. Again, I used to think, oh my gosh, I've heard this 5 times. Why isn't it that I don't get it? And again, sometimes we don't get it because we have no embodied experience of it. We don't know what it looks like or feels like. And when that's the case, we're like, it's like you guys have heard me talk about, English is not my first language. So it's like, what does that mean? Yes, exactly, Sue. Me too. And I have all those, healing books that I have on my shelf. My husband's like, isn't it time to let these books go? I'm like, no. I know the next time I read that book, I will totally hear something that I have not heard before. So, oh, you're so sweet, Wanda. You are so welcome, my friend. So glad that you got that. So, anyways, let's see what you guys came up with. Wanda shared with us today. She says, my new favorite way to release tension in my body is tapping. I have found that tapping grounds me and brings me back to the present. The hard feelings may still be there, but I'm not directly attached to them. Beautiful, beautiful, Wanda, right? You are aware enough to know that, in the present moment, right? It's like those thoughts are about the past, or even the feelings that are coming up that are wanting to be seen and heard are not what's happening right here, right now. But only by being present in the moment can you accept them, accept yourself for having them, right? So it's really powerful. Tapping calms me. It reinforces the truth and delineates the lies. Yes, I think that's the word. So she says, I wanted to try TRE, but I now know that I'm not in a place of my healing where that is possible, and that's okay. Yes, 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 Wanda. It's okay. It's okay. And she says, will I ever be able to use TRE? I don't know, but I do know that it's okay if I can't. And I want to add one that I can't yet, right? So just pay attention to our black or white, either or, all or white thinking, right? Because you have learned a lot, and there's things you do now that you, I don't think you would have done a year ago. So just pay attention to the words. And I have shared with you guys too, it took me, I don't know how many sessions until I felt safe to do TRE on my own. I needed another body in the room for a long time. And it was like 4 or 5 sessions before my body started shaking at all. I was just like, I was very intrigued. I was very curious. I wanted to. My body was like, what is going on here? Exactly, Wanda. Even hugging our friends, the trees. So, but I was willing. And I had a beautiful mentor and my trainer who's like, Svava, you just slowing down to the slow, 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 slow pace that your body is asking you to go at is the greatest gift that you can give yourself. And she was so right. I didn't give up on my body. Like I said, it took me 2 years to get certified in that certified TRE practitioner. And I wanted to give up because other people were doing it in 6 to 8 months. But I had horrific, right, trauma. So no wonder. So it helped me. And now that I've learned to listen and listen and listen to my body is like, oh, thank you. You're finally listening and working with me instead of shaming me or punishing me or thinking that I'm wrong or bad or not good enough, right? So I hear you, Wanda. Rob says, these women made me feel better about not getting at the retreat. They said they've been healing for decades. And Wanda says, I look at the trees differently now than I'm doing when I'm doing my morning quiet time. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Well, I'm so glad that you have gained that in your life, my friend. Because I love trees. Just love them. So, not to beat myself up for not being at their level after a year. Exactly, Rob. Exactly. Yep, exactly. And I told you, my friend, you showed a lot of courage just showing up. A lot of courage just for being there. So you did a beautiful job. You did a beautiful job, my friend. And what a gift. You are a blessing to us. Yes, and you are too, my friend. You are too. Let's see here. Sue gave me permission to share. I hear them communicate in blowing in the breeze. Yes. Yes, Wanda. Yes, Rob. You're very welcome. I like that. Sue tells us, hey, Rob. Hey, friend. Welcome. Glad to see you're here with us today. And just a quick, I didn't mention, if you are on the Periscope, I'm in broadcast mode only over here on Periscope, but I'm running the live chat over on YouTube. Too much to be navigating 2 of these at the same time. But if you want to join us over on YouTube, please, you can Google the name of my book and you will find our live chat. And I'm on here Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we would love to have you join our conversation. And right now, I'm sharing the journal entry comments from our group members. So just a little update for those that are watching maybe the replay or are new here, but we would love it if you say it hello and let us know where you're from. So good to see you, Rob. I'm finding my way here down the page, and here is Sue shared with us. She says, I find TRE, tension and trauma release, one of the best ways I have of releasing trapped tension. It also helps me to go out for a walk, especially if I'm being mindful out in nature. And mindfulness helps too, because if I can stay in the present and accept things as they are, rather than think about where I want or ought to be, that reduces the stress a lot, right? Sue, right? When we catch that, just being here, not think about what I should or ought. Immediately, that's, your mind calling on, okay, give me a good story, give me a really good story to work up here, right? So it's like, no. You can think what you want up here, but I'm going to be right here, right in the present moment. Hey, Chrisanne. Hey, friend. Good to see you. Exactly, Sue, right? She says, yes, that's a big one for me, right? And for so many of us, right, it's like breathing. We don't know we're doing it. We do not know we're doing it. We do not hear ourselves, right? No longer is the hard, critical, even hateful language coming from outside. It's coming from inside. And since we're asking the mind, what's wrong with me? The mind goes, I'll tell you what's wrong with you. Instead of asking, what's right about me? What do I love about myself? What do I really appreciate about myself? What am I really good at? Right? What is my gift and talent? What do I really want? What do I really like? To be asking those questions. Because many of us, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. She goes on to say here, mindfulness helps too, because, right, I already read that. If I can stay in the present and accept things as they are. She also says, being in the present moment helps me to be kinder to myself too. I have thought about adding tapping to my self-care, but I haven't yet got the hang of that. I like how you put the yet in there. So, because, right? And you had already mentioned here, I see that you had trouble with the tapping because the setups sentence is, it asks for, even though I'm feeling, fill in the blank, I still love and accept myself. And right, I think the love and acceptance of yourself was kind of tripping you up a little bit. But even though I am seeing in your writing now that you said here, mindfulness helps because if I can stay present and accept things as they are, right? Do you hear that? You wrote about it. You are now starting to accept things as they are. So maybe tapping is something we could explore, and we can actually maybe do one of our groups. I can take you guys through the tapping protocol now that I've learned a little more about it. But again, I think for us, sometimes in the beginning, if we don't believe something is going to work for us, or we are resisting it, then of course it won't work for us, right? And again, it's okay that you just recognize, this isn't something that I'm willing to do for now, but maybe down the road. So Sue says, yes, that is changing, but I haven't got together with tapping yet. Well, I can hook you up, Sue. We can talk about that later. Hey, Sharon. Hey, friend. Welcome. Good to see you. There you go, Sue. Yet. Exactly. And Wanda says here, I am really learning to listen to my heart and to stay out of my head. Exactly. So important to stay out of our heads, to understand how this, again, it helps me with my mind to, like, this mind is just here to make meaning out of things. It's good when I need to get stuff done, when it helps me brainstorm or create things, or you know what I mean? But when I'm trying to heal or change or process, very often, it's the least helpful unless I am really working hard of putting in new thoughts. The same way those old toxic thoughts came in, they got in there and into my subconscious through repetition, right? Repetition. We were saying that to ourselves over and over and over again. And that's, how we need to shift. But instead of just letting that toxic chatter go on, becoming aware of it. And guess what? No. And I've told you guys the story when I decided I'm kind. I want to explore what it feels like to know that I am a kind person. I was a little scared, but in my heart of hearts, it's like, well, I'm going to try it on. I'll just try it very small. But I am really going to start to enforce in my mind and, how I'm interacting and engaging with other people that I am kind. And it was that repetition, right? And now I know I am a kind human, right? I think I could ask anybody who knows me well. It's like, is she kind? I think most of you would say yes. I think all of you guys would say yes. So, but again, it started with, no, there's no way. I am not kind. No, I am bad, shameful, toxic, evil, right? Dirty, all those things. But becoming aware of them. Say that again. Retreat to the heart, Wanda, right? They don't lie. You down there. Yes, Rob, I love that. And Wanda, you're right. It's dangerous up in your head all by yourselves. The people under the stairs are not your friends. Exactly. Wanda says, I always knew I was kind. I just didn't want others to see that because they would take advantage. Interesting. That makes sense. Wanda, right? But now that you are appreciating yourself and your kindness, right? You are going to set a boundary because, right? What kind of people do we attract when we're kind? Kind people. Exactly. Self-protecting by hiding our greatest virtue. Thank you, Master Rob. That is it. And who loses out? Who misses out when we hide our greatest virtue? I'm sorry, Sue, right? You were told that you were mean and selfish. Nope. Not one bit. Yes, my friend Rob, you are very wise. Yep. I hear you guys. And again, right? Because we are asking the question, why am I, why is this so hard for me? Or why is something not working in my life? Your mind remembers, remember you were told that you were mean and selfish. Remember that? Your mind will be so kind and gentle. No, be so generous to remind you. So there you go. I call that, Sharon, exquisite self-care. Exquisite self-care. Not selfish at all. I hear you, right? So many of us, when we talk about self-care, no, right? What will people think of me, right? That I'm selfish, that we are taught we should be giving and giving and giving and taking care of everybody else. And for some of us, that was a good coping strategy. That was a good coping strategy. I'm going to take care of you, and maybe hope that I'll get something back, that you will give me what I'm giving to you, or that you will just completely leave me alone if I take care of you. You won't even ask how I'm doing, because I'd rather not anybody know, right? Yes. Yes. Exactly, Rob. Yep. I hear you, Sharon, right? Flip that switch. It took a long time. Yep. I hear you, my friend. I totally understand. You guys are doing a beautiful job. So Chris Ann and Rob, can I share yours? I see you guys are here. Yepers. Okay, Rob says, my favorite way to release that tension feeling that the French call ennui is twofold. Walk it out or exercise it out with a healthy dopamine and endorphins, or listen to music. I thought everyone got a cheek tingle from music they like, but discovered it's a Asper type thing. But if I put on Scarface, yeah, the rappers, #1 rapper, Houston drawl, and mental health lyrics, I cry, I laugh, I boo, and sometimes and feel emotional till I'm on a level. It's hilarious. I'm not even going to try that, Rob. So he says, I have some unhealthy ways to deal with things too, but that's on the down low rather than regular this year. The draw is still strong, but the hope is stronger. On the TRE thing, though, at the retreat, man had a revelation with the stop and then start again, the tremors, and it went straight to my jaw where I got the triple break some years past. And that was scary as hell, but not if you understand the dichotomy, right? I obviously told my trauma in the injury site, which needs release, but I spent nearly 10 years of fearing to sleep because in my slumber, my lax jaw would click off point and I'd wake up semi-dislocated and panicked, trying to unclick it back. And the TRE bring me back to worrying that I get stuck and have to do surgery again. Still, that's mostly panic, and I recognize that, so releasing the trauma via tremor is my next aim. Peace and love. Beautiful, Rob. Beautiful. I am sorry, my friend, that it scared you, but I understand. And maybe, it shows you that the tremors are there. There's wisdom in your body, right? Your body knows where you're holding that. And so like you caught also when we talked about this a little bit in the session, is to remind you, just tremor for a minute and stop, right? And then check in with yourself. Was this enough? Or would I like to try more? And then come back and, okay, I'm going to tremor for another minute and then I can stop. So just really go very, 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 very slowly until you stay within, your capacity to self-regulate, to stay grounded, to stay present, to stay calm. And this is comfortable, this is manageable, right? Because the truth is, what you release with the tremors, when you start next time, you start where you left off. Yes, the tremors will help you release day-to-day tension, but when we are releasing chronic tension from the trauma, it's like you peel off the layer. Now that's gone. So the next time you tremor, it may feel very different. And maybe Sue, maybe you can jump in and share a little bit that you shared with me today about your tremoring process as a result of, we tried something different at the retreat. She's been tremoring for over a year. So I assisted her a little bit, being that she was very comfortable with the tremor in her body. And since then, she's able to build on that and is exploring to do now something that has brought the tremors into different parts of her body that had not tremored before. So Rob, I really hope that you keep trying, my friend. And again, even just going through the exercises, even just recognizing a little bit of stretching is going to warm up the body and release a little bit. So, but please keep me posted and let me know how I can assist you. Because I'm sure, right, that could be worrisome. Oh. I hear you. I hear you. I'm sorry. There you go, peeling the layers, right? Right? So I hear you. I can imagine that must have been scary, right? Waking up with that. Yeah, that is very tough. That's very tough. So you are in charge, and that's the thing. You can always override the tremors. You can always make it stop. You are in charge. And so sounds like, like for me, I had to go what felt like excruciatingly slow at times, but that was me really honoring my body and honoring, whatever was happening inside of me. It really taught me to deeply get very comfortable with recognizing, where am I? Where am I? What's going on inside of my body? So take your time, my friend. Take your time. There you go, Sue, right? Start it very slowly until you feel safe. And that goes with, anything, even tapping or, right, the butterfly hugs. Little bit at a time. We're crossing the midline here, activating both sides of our brain. That naturally helps your body to come back into, right, from the going up to coming down, right? Because when we go into fight, flight, or freeze, we are eliminating our access to that part of our brain that can help us keep track of, wait, I'm right here right now. I'm not back in the past. I'm right here right now. Hey, Nuff. He says here, exactly, and recognize that the memory of lock jaw is a memory and not reality, and the tremor is the release. Yes, easier every time. Every time. Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful, my friend. Beautiful. But I'm also happy that you got to experience that the tremors, which are, right, inherently all humans have access to this healing mechanism, right? It's part of being human, that your body immediately identified something that it wants to release, right? And that's what is fascinating to me. Like, I hurt my back, remember, in December, and for a long time my tremors were working with and around the injury, right? And it's very interesting to see how this process that lives in our nervous system will go where there is tension. Like, I carry tension here, So regularly my tremors go and my shoulders shake as I'm lying on the floor, and it feels so good. It's like I'm getting a massage from the inside out. And it's almost like somebody is like lifting my head and just releasing. I'm being supported by my biology, the wisdom of my nerves and my cells. It feels so powerful and so rewarding. It's like, oh my gosh, you are so safe. You are so clever. You have so much wisdom. I'm sorry I didn't trust you. I'm sorry I didn't think you were safe. But I'm here now. I hear you. I hear you. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Treat our bodies like our best friend, just like we do inner child work. Work with your body. Talk to your body. Yes, exactly. To feel them go to the trauma site when I'd only exercised my legs and psoas was beautiful, was weird, but beautiful. Yeah, exactly. But it makes sense that the tremors will start in your psoas and your hips and your thighs, because those are the big muscles, right? We will often start there, and then after a while, the tremors will start to travel and out into your arms or up into your neck. Like I've told you to, I've had tremors in my jaw. So it's beautiful, powerful. Well, thanks, my friends. Of course, I drew the perfect card for us today, as always. One day, her desire for peace became so great that she became peace. Always perfect, right? And isn't that it? That's what we're working on. Becoming peace. Creating peace with our bodies, peace with our nervous system, peace with our emotions, peace with our thoughts. You love peace? Yes, exactly. So thank you, my friends. I appreciate all the sharing and on this journey as we are figuring out how to accept ourselves where we are at, right here, right now, on this journey, right? So celebrate yourself, be gentle with yourself, acknowledge you're doing a beautiful job. You're doing such a beautiful job. Yes, peace is good. Peace is good. If you're looking for peace, go hug a tree, right, Wanda? You're welcome, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, like usual, go do something that sparks joy this weekend. Go do something fun. Do something wholesome. It doesn't have to cost money or take up a lot of time. Did you not hug a tree, Sue? Did we let Sue get away with that? I can't believe it. Well, you hugged this tree. I'm your tree. You hugged a tree through me. I'm a tree hugger, so there you go. So have a really, really beautiful weekend, the rest of the week and the weekend, and we will be back here on Tuesday. We also, our closed group has a Tuesday morning meeting, and I'm about to post something about that here tomorrow. We're going to just come together this month and process some of our experiences from the retreat. I'm hearing that request from a few of you, so that's what we're going to do. But then we are here live on YouTube and Periscope Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Thursday. That's the 8 a.m. thing. Yes, Rob. Yep. And I'll send tomorrow information about that. So, but thank you again for sharing your hearts and souls here. Thank you, you too. And love the love and support in our group as always. Be gentle with yourselves, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Please give a thumbs up if this was helpful to you today, and the hearts over on Periscope, and feel free to share with anybody that you think might be looking for love and support on the healing journey after child abuse or trauma. So thank you, friends. See you next week. Awesome. Thank you, Rob. Thanks. Bye, guys.